Autumn internationals, England and Tonga, two sides that met at the Rugby World Cup in 2019. It was a pretty comfortable, although not spectacular win for England on that day. This time we are at Twickenham. We'll go through the lineups, some of the recent history between the sides, the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts, plus the predictions on how this one is going to go. Obviously, Tonga played last week, whereas England was still kind of prepping. They got beaten by Scotland 60 points to 14. And earlier in the year, New Zealand put 100 points on Tonga. But it's been kind of a different Tongan side every time they've played. When they played over here in New Zealand, it was very much a side made up of guys kind of that could be locally sourced in New Zealand because they had kind of COVID regulations about getting into New Zealand. The side that played up in Scotland last week was largely made up of pro guys based in Europe, but the ones that could get released from their clubs. This week we've got some more of their big guns back, and we'll kind of have to see how they go on a week's prep. Remember, their coach has not travelled either after kind of suffering a stabbing at a home invasion in Australia a couple of months ago now, but he is still recovering from that. That's Toto Kefu. So, yeah, but we'll start with the England squad because they are the home side for this one. Now, it's an interesting one because Eddie Jones, when he named his kind of, his initial England training squad, a heap of young guys, and the average age of the squad was pretty young. And then for this game, which, with all due respect to Tonga, I thought was going to be one where he would maybe roll the dice a bit and show us some new combinations and play some of the younger guys to build a bit of experience. He's named a pretty experienced, at least starting 15 with some of the younger guys on the bench, which for mine was, again, odd, but I will still just go with what Eddie's plan is because, as I say, he's a smarter guy than me, and what he's got planned is maybe just something I'm not quite grasping. But Genge, George, and Sinclair, like I said, very experienced front row. George wasn't even going to be in the squad, but then with Cowan Dickey getting injured, he's there and he is starting. So it's a good chance for him to show Eddie that he's still got what it takes. And at premiership level, he's been lighting it up. So there's no reason not to expect good work from him. It's Jose and Hill, as I think I mentioned in the squad video, the expected kind of England locking duo for their kind of front line, right? Maro with the turnovers and the dominant tackles and just the physical presence of Johnny Hill. So that's the second row. And then Laws, Underhill and Curry is maybe a slightly surprising back row with Tom Curry shifting to number 8. But as Eddie Jones mentioned in his press conference, New Zealand have done the same thing with Adi Savia. He's a 7 who's just been kind of shifted to 8. So we still get the Curry-Underhill combo. What is it? Some people are calling it under-Curry. Just like when you had Hooper and Pocock playing together for Australia, it seems to be a pretty good thing, and Eddie likes to see those guys playing together. I was hoping to see Don Brandt alongside those two fellas, but you've got Courtney Laws there as well, so yeah, he can do a job whether he's at 6 or in the second row, can't he? So yeah, Don Bratton is on the bench, so I can't complain too much. Youngs and Farrell is an experienced 19 combo. I was, again, maybe expecting to see a little bit of the dice thrown, but with Marcus Smith he's had a niggle all week apparently, so he's not been able to train properly. He is in the squad, but it was maybe a bridge too far for him to be looking to start this week. And Alex Mitchell's going to have to wait to get his England cap from the bench because Youngs is the guy, as I mentioned, who's going to wear the 9 jersey. Tuilagi and Slade, that's an experienced midfield. Slade has been phenomenal for Exeter in their premiership campaign thus far. Probably their best player, maybe. Am I stretching it too much with that? But Tuilagi will be looking to do the crash ball thing, and Slade with his distribution, his pace, he'll be looking to control the game. May and Radwan, that's some serious pace on the wings. Opposite ends of the experience scale, but both very, very exciting players. And Stewart is your big guy there at the back. Very secure under the high ball. So kind of beware, Tonga, if you're going to kick him the ball. In all likelihood, he's going to catch it and either run it back to you or maybe give it to one of those guys outside him. So yeah, as I said, very experienced looking England starting 15. Blamire, Marla and Stewart is also kind of relatively experienced. I'm not sure how many caps Stewart's got at the moment, but he's by no means new. Marla is certainly not new, and Blamire is one of the guys on single-digit caps. I thought maybe he could get a start, but there we go. Hopefully he gets at least half the game, half an hour plus. Yules is there on the bench alongside Dombrandt, as I mentioned. Dombrandt for Quins has been in cracking form, so I'm hoping he gets more than token minutes as well. Surely you put him on for at least half an hour. I don't know. Alex Mitchell, Marcus Smith, and George Furbank are the three back replacements. So yeah, as I said, Eddie's kind of talking up the amount of youth they've got, albeit on the bench rather than starting. For Tonga, as I mentioned, they've got some of their big guns back. They didn't have Ben Tamiafuna and Sigrid Fusihoi last week, so that's going to bolster their scrum. Noamo is still there at hooker. Fafita and Halafanua are still the locks from last week. Fafita was really good against Scotland. He won the majority of their line-out ball and got through a heap of work defensively, so he'll have to be on form. Lopeti Tamani is a big guy to have in the back row as well, so him alongside or up against Courtney Laws could be an interesting prospect. Kafotolu starts where he was on the bench last week, and Vailanu moves into number 8. He was not in the 23 last week. So yeah, there's quite a few changes. Takalua and Marath, though, that's stable from last week. The same experienced 19 combo. Like if you thought, in terms of, I guess in caps, like the England guys are certainly going to have more caps, but Kurt Marath is like 36. So yeah, experienced in a different kind of way. Taumopiao and Hingano are the midfield. Taumopiao wasn't in the squad last week, but Hingano was, and I don't remember him getting a heck of a lot of ball. I think he was kind of trying to keep things quiet defensively, but one guy who's going to be tough to keep quiet defensively is Solomon Akata. He's been playing, he's a former rugby league guy, been playing over in Australia, and now he's going to make his debut for Tonga, so that's phenomenal stuff. He's a big guy, so he'll take some bringing down. And Walter Fafita, I think he put, who's the little Scottish fullback? His name escapes me. Darcy Graham. He put him on his backside at least a couple of times last week as well. So yeah, excitement from the Tongan wingers, and then Veanu should be pretty familiar to Premiership fans. A good solid guy to have at fullback as well. So yeah, the bench, they've got Maile, Uhila, and Fia. So Fia is the only guy. Fufia is the only guy who wasn't in 23 last week. Funaki drops to the bench. Havili is still there. Fuka is the backup halfback. James Fiver drops to the bench. He was fullback last week, and Viliami Fine is there as well. So yeah, lots of changes for Tonga. So maybe a little bit disjointed in terms of lacking a bit of chemistry with the short prep time, but certainly in terms of having your big guns back, it is a good one for Tonga. Interestingly, Tonga last week was quite happy to kick penalties against Scotland. I know the score kind of blew out in the end, but yeah, Scotland would get a try and Tonga would hit back with the penalties. They were trying to keep the scoreboard at least close-ish rather than getting attempted tries being stopped and getting blown out. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tactic they take. England's set piece, their maul, maybe one of the differences. England, in terms of the amount of mauls they set amongst the Six Nations countries anyway, pretty high. So that'll be an area Tonga, I hope, have drilled during the week. Tonga will need to be competitive. Maybe if you're looking for England to improve on areas of discipline, their penalties conceded count has been pretty high in 2021, so it's an area they would like to reduce, I am sure. Like I mentioned, they played 35-3 at the World Cup in 2019. Other results are getting pretty historic when you look at them. 36-20 in 2007, 101-10 in 1999. So very, very seldom, I guess, do we see these two teams play. But yeah, good to see them playing this weekend. Hopefully everything goes ahead smoothly. I know the England guys have been taking COVID tests because one of the backroom staff for England tested positive. So I haven't heard anything since. So we'll see kind of if anything comes of that. But it is at Twickenham, so expecting a big old crowd. It's on at 3:15 local time, I believe, in the afternoon. So after the All Blacks Italy and Ireland Japan games, which makes it 4:15 in the morning over here in New Zealand. Craig Evans is the ref, so a Welsh ref. And yeah, predictions for this one. England by 58, according to the bookies. And the Rugby Forecast algorithm says 47. So England predicted to walk away with this one pretty comfortably. If you want to get yourself some England gear, I'm not sure if the Black Friday sales are on yet, but they shouldn't be too far away. England Rugby Store, link in the description. It's an affiliate of the channel, so happy days. Check them out if you want to grab yourself an New England jersey or any other England kit. But yeah, you guys have any thoughts? How do you think this one's going to go? Is it going to be a proper blowout? Can you see Tonga being competitive, or is it going to be kind of another lopsided result? You guys have any thoughts? And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.